prehistoric and historical. American continental civilization of an Israelite kingdom. Veracruz is a historic port city on Mexico's Gulf Coast. Founded in 1519 by Hernan Cortés and known as the country's oldest European-founded city. It is a significant maritime hub with a vibrant culture, Afro-Caribbean influences, and a lively Malecon. The city is famous for its seafood, traditional danzón music and dance, and is the origin of the folk song La Bamba. Curiel and Tapia families have Spanish origins and may have arrived in Mexico, including the state of Veracruz, through several distinct migratory periods. Both names also have significant Sephardic Judean connections, with many families migrating to escape the Spanish and Portuguese Inquisitions. Curiel family origins. Initial arrival. The Curiel family's origins trace back to Curiel de Duero in Castile, Spain. Many Sephardic Curiel family members settled in Portugal after the expulsion of Jews from Spain in 1492. These individuals, known as conversos or crypto-Jews, were forcibly converted to Catholicism but secretly maintained their faith. Migration to the New World. During the Spanish colonial period, many conversos and crypto-Jews migrated to Mexico. They sought to escape the ongoing scrutiny of the Inquisition in the Iberian Peninsula. Some settled in port cities like Veracruz, which served as a primary gateway to the Americas. 20th century immigration. In the early 20th century, a new wave of Judaic immigrants arrived in Mexico through the port of Veracruz. They came from Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and the Mediterranean. These new arrivals further expanded the Judean Semitic ancestral practice in the population of Mexico. Tapia family origins. Spanish and Arabic roots. The Tapia surname has both Spanish and Asturian Leonese origins, derived from the word tapia, meaning mud wall or rammed earth wall. The term itself came from the Arabic word tabia, reflecting the Moorish influence on the Iberian Peninsula. The name originally described someone who lived near or built such a wall. Sephardic connection. The Tapia name was also adopted by Sephardic Semitic Judean families during the forced conversions of the Inquisition. Some descendants, who later returned to Judaism, kept the name their families had used as Catholics. Entry to Veracruz. Like the Curiels, Tapia families could have arrived in Mexico during the colonial period as conversos or as later immigrants. The port of Veracruz was a central point of entry for many migrants, including those of Semitic descent. Brandon Rennell Jones, grandson of Etienne Saunier. 7th great-grandfather. B. April 1st, 1705. Grand Prix, Kings, Nova Scotia, Canada. D. 1765. Opelousas, St. Landry, Louisiana, United States. Family connections in Mexico. Etienne Saunier. 1705 to 1765. 7th great-grandfather. Madeleine Yosif Saunier. 1747 to 1800. Daughter of Etienne Saunier. Author François d'Azincourt. Chrétien Prosper. 1801 to 1858. Son of Madeleine Josephine Saunier. Co. Babylas Friedman, 1865. Orphée, 1832. Son of Orphée François d'Azincourt. Chrétien Prosper. Orphée Prosper. 5th great-grandfather. B. ABT 1801. Opelousas, St. Landry, Louisiana, USA. D. November 28th, 1858. St. Martinville, St. Martin, Louisiana, United States. Prosper Chrétien, the son of François d'Azincourt Chrétien and the enslaved woman. Fanny, Prosper was freed by his father's will. He became a successful and prominent free man of color and planter in Louisiana. A Prosper's business. Prosper owned his own cotton gin and, by 1870, was one of the wealthiest men of color in the area, a testament to the complex and stratified society of Louisiana. Isidore Orphée. 1856, son of Babylas Friedman. 1865 Orphée. Cecilia Orphée. 1883 to 1949. Daughter of Isidore Orphée, Josephine Jacquet, 1906 to 1950 Orphée. Daughter of Josephine Jacquet. Connection to Chrétien Point Plantation, to the Opelousas family, was owned by another Chrétien family member, Hippolyte Chrétien, who was the grandson of the elder Pierre. In its prime, the plantation was a 3,000-acre cotton farm worked by over 500 enslaved people. Summary. Orphée Prosper was born in 1801 in Opelousas, Louisiana. He married Fanny Thompson on December 31st, 1845. Location, Orleans, including Tchoupitoulas. Document number, 194. Notary M. de Armas. Document language, French. Document depository housed in parish courthouses. Seller, François Armé. Buyer, Etienne Jonguin. Selling value, 5,972. Selling valueless, 5,972. Save v. Cancel. Lang, French. Document depository, housed in parish courthouses. Seller, François Am. Buyer, Etienne Jean Guillen. Name, Orphy gender, male race, black age, 15 birth year, ABT 1799 other history, sold or inventoried in a group. Research into Louisiana Creole and Acadian families reveals a likely connection for a man named Pierre Chrétien. However, based on the previous entries in your family tree, it is highly likely that the Pierre Chrétien entry is an error, and the person you are searching for is François d'Azincourt Chrétien, who was the father of Prosper Chrétien and the owner of the slave Fanny. d'Azincourt, surname. d'Azincourt is likely misspelled the word Danson as d'Azincourt, leading to a misunderstanding. Who was d'Azincourt? Joseph Jean-Baptiste Albouy, 1747, to one by his stage name, d'Azincourt, in the 18th century. He was famous for his comedic roles, particularly in the works of playwright Pierre Beaumarchais. What is danzón? Danzón is an elegant dance that originated in Cuba in the 19th century. It arrived in Mexico through the port of Veracruz, becoming a deeply rooted tradition there, particularly in the state's main square, or Zocalo. A danzón is a key part of Mexican culture, and the state of Veracruz is often called its adoptive parent. Arrival in Mexico. Due to close sea traffic and cultural ties, danzón arrived in Veracruz via merchant ships and spread throughout Mexico. Mexico, and Veracruz specifically, are often called the adoptive parents of danzón. A new home, danzón remained a significant part of Veracruz's cultural life, even as its popularity in Cuba waned. It also gained prominence in Mexico City dance halls, like the famous Salon Mexico. Relationship to Prosper and Fanny. François d'Azincourt Chrétien was the biological father of the biracial man Prosper Chrétien, who he had with the slave Fanny. In 1842, François freed both Prosper and Fanny in his last will and testament. Appearance. He was the grandson of Joseph Chrétien and Magdalene Saugny. Estate. In 1858, his estate was valued at nearly $400,000 and included 65 slaves. Death. He died on November 28, 1858, in St. Martinville, Louisiana. History and significance. Founding. Established by Hernan Cortés in 1519 as Villa Rica de la Veracruz, it was the first European settlement in North America. A port city, Veracruz served as the primary port for Spanish colonization and trade, exporting silver and red dye while importing goods and enslaved people from the Caribbean. Historical conflicts. The city was captured and attacked multiple times by foreign powers, including the British, French, and the United States. Opelousas, Spanish Creole. While Spanish settlers were present, Opelousas was not a Spanish colony. It was first established in 1720 as a French garrison and trading post before the Spanish gained control of the territory. The timeline of Opelousas's colonial history. 1720. Opelousas was founded as a French military post and trading center. 1763. France secretly ceded its Louisiana territory to Spain through the Treaty of Fontainebleau. 1765. The first Acadian refugees arrived in Opelousas after being exiled from Nova Scotia, further strengthening the area's French character. 1769. As Spanish officials began integrating the territory, they encouraged settlement through land grants. While this brought some Spanish families, the existing French population was already dominant. 1800, Spain returned the Louisiana territory to France. 1803, the United States acquired Opelousas through the Louisiana Purchase. As a result of this colonial history, Opelousas has a rich mix of French, Spanish, and Native American heritage. French descent can be found in cities and states including Veracruz, Zacatecas, San Luis Potosí, Aguascalientes, Guanajuato, and Jalisco. French immigrants settled in these areas during different periods, most notably in the 19th century. We can find some cave paintings on the Cerro de los Judeos.